That wasn't the type of music that was playing in Pizza Ranch when we were there. We had some country music. That was beautiful, just beautiful. We had some country music playing, and it was enough that the kids said, can we go ask them to turn it down? They aren't real country music fans, and actually it was 16-year-old, 20-year-old wanting the music turned down. But then this song began, and I don't know as though they were listening, but I decided to listen to this one. And it begins with the word, it was a home run when the game was tied, a pickup truck when I could drive, it was a passing grade, a pretty girl, all the money in the world. What mattered then kept changing every day. I left a line out, but you'll get to hear that line soon enough. It was a North Dakota man who grew up in northern North Dakota among the potatoes and such, lived through the Dust Bowl. And not long before his death, he shared with many of us what I've come to call the Priorities Clothesline. And on the clothesline hangs the things we treasure and value. And some of our treasures don't seem like what we'd really gather all our things for and sell them to purchase as if they were a precious pearl, like Jesus told of a merchant doing. But one of the last things we'll give up this time of year is electricity. Some of you may have been around South Fargo yesterday. They gave up a lot of electricity. Lights out, Conlin's closed, the little shiny diner closed, Walmart closed temporarily, just endless things because a transformer blew, I guess. Natural gas, that's another one of the things we don't really want to give up this time of year. And so maybe they're not our romantic Valentine sort of thing, but they are things that we love, and they are things that we find comforting and comfortable. So there's two hearts that we can remove for things that, we need, they cost us, we want, we love in a non-romantic way. Now, I don't know. We even write little love letters for these things. We sign our little names on the bottom of the checks. And I don't know if you're a fan of Hornbachers, or if you're a fan of Cashwise, or Walmart, or Sunmart, or each of us finds ourselves traipsing through the great pantry, where another of our loves keeps her produce and canned goods and frozen treats for sale, even popsicles for the horses, I suppose. And though the exchange isn't romantic, there is a consistency there, and there is a faithfulness there. There's a relationship that begins to build with those things we hunger for and the grocery store we go to. It's part of our basic needs. So we'll take a little heart off for the groceries we love, which keep us going and keep our kids going, and all of that sort of thing. Those exchanges, though, they're more like arranged marriages, a matrimony of convenience and the need to survive. But they're part of our Priorities Clothesline. They're not that negotiable, except, well, maybe where your protein comes from, whether it will come from hamburger or Alaskan king crab or something in between. And you can decide, some people love 72 in the house, others love 68 or 67. There are little tweaks we can give to this negotiation that we have going on. But that's 2 hearts down, 3 hearts down actually now, with groceries as well. Now when my belly's full, I don't know about you, then I have these things that really, that's the things I really start to love. You might have them too. For some people, it may be fall hunting season and all the stuff that goes with it. Shields, Gander Mountain, they bank on this kind of love. Pre-Christmas, pre-Super Bowl, Best Buy, Walmart, they're all banking on the big screen TV love that's out there, especially if it's a flat screen. HGTV, they're aiming for a little different audience, as does the upcoming Home and Garden show that will be going on in Fargo. This weekend, curling rocks are sliding, and hockey pucks are being slapped around, and basketballs are being tossed. To the point, well, there was no room in the settle-in. That's where we are temporarily, as the old parsonage is being fixed. And we thought we were moving out, but then they found an opening, so all we had to do was move down the hall. But we didn't have to move outside, thankfully. So we have these things that we love and pursue. And I know for a fact, just watching some of it go on, I know some of these weekends that are so loved, the cost of that weekend actually exceeds what some people are able to give to church in a year. So let's see, we could add, how many are we up to? We're up to 3, I think. Yeah, we could add maybe a vacation or a lakeshore home, and I think with those little guys we could take off 4 and 5. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then there's the whole healthcare arena. Now this is kind of a dicey one. You may not love it, you may not, but sometimes you need it. Healthcare costs are going up so fast. It's the #1 cause, at least the beginning cause, for bankruptcies in the United States. Out-of-pockets are running $5,000 to $10,000 for a family. Maybe you could survive it 1 year, but try surviving it several years in a row, or a catastrophic event. So now we're up to heart number what for health care? Heart number, 6 for health care. That works. Okay, just because it's a need. Transportation. We need to get to our jobs so we can tend to our loves in our life. And if you're like me, it's really nice to step outside this time of year with clothes on. It's chilly. Actually, it is kind of all times of year, but this time of year especially reminds us it's not the Garden of Eden out there. So, transportation, sometimes there's money tied into these things, and clothes, good things. Things we love. If we really love them, well, we heard this morning from the little kids, one of the things I love, shopping. Yes. Home repair, maybe not a love, but sometimes there's pleasure in doing that. Take another heart off there, I guess. We'll get to that. Then there's furniture purchases, maybe a little upgrade in landscaping, a little remodeling. There's entertaining. It's nice to have people over and gather them around. The people you love. Maybe 1 or 2 you don't love so much, but that becomes stories down the road. And so that's another one. Let's see. There's the Grace United Methodist Church night out for 2 coming up to spend with one you love. I think that's about 13 hearts down so far. 12 or 13. We only started with 10. We're running into a bit of a problem here. And that's kind of why it's the Priorities Clothesline. We start running into these problems because we have more things that we love and more people that we love and more activities that we love than we have time and energy and money to love many times. Says the writer of Deuteronomy. Now, what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you or out of your reach. And then as George read, I set before you this day prosperity and life, destruction and death. I command you this day to love the Lord your God, to walk in obedience, and you will prosper. But if your heart turns away, there's a reason the Bible talks so much about giving. And it's not because God needs money. It's because we start with 10 hearts and we spend 13, 14. Elby told it this way, and Elby was a very conservative fellow. He went over to his last little, he didn't have hearts, he had different arrangement here, but it was close. And he went over and he simply said, you know, the problem that we're having in this nation today with churches and such is after all the hearts and all the loves, we find a way to give God the little bit left over. And that's about it. And that might not be the truth. But in a way, I think it is the truth. Not just with our money, but with our time, with our love, with our energy, with our thoughts, with our prayers. The Bible speaks of tithing. It's not because 10% is written in stone. For some, food, roof, health care, school, all of that takes 9.5, 10 hearts, sometimes 11, and you need to go in debt a bit just to get by and get the education or whatever. For others, such as a person that was a trustee on a United Methodist Seminary board in Ohio, he was able to live on 10% of what he had, gave 90% of what he had every year away. Because he said, I don't need it. Part of it was he had a lot. And the other part of it was, he said, over his life, his priorities changed and his needs changed. Trace Adkins, I'll share with you just a little bit of the song at this point, and listen to the words. It's a good romantic ballad for today. When Christ is our brother, it redefines who our family is. And we know everyone's wife is someone's wife, and every widow is someone's widow, and every child is someone's child. And there is a world of children, each one someone's child. How many of them do you and I pray for each night? How many of them do we include in our desires for the best of things, and the fullest of plates, and the sturdiest of shelters? How close are we when we bow our heads to pray to coming to that point of no me, myself, or I? It says, God, I have set before you this day life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life, so you and your children may love the Lord, and listen to God's voice, and hold fast to God's way, and know the Lord is your life. Then you will have many years in the land sworn to your fathers and mothers, to Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebekah and Jacob and Rachel. Choose life. Let God help you. Let God help us. Prioritize all the things in our life. Let those things become part of God's life-giving plan for us and for those around us. Thanks be to God. Amen.